Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is 𝗪𝗓𝗓𝗧𝗧. This is the Human Colony Hucolo webinar. It's Saturday, the 11th of October, 2025, and we have back with us a very special guest, someone who's been with us a few times now. I don't know exactly how many, but who's counting? But it's nice to have him back every time. He's doing hand signals. I don't know what's going on. Oh, nice. So anyway, his beautiful name is Lou Martin. Hi, Lou. How are you doing? Coming from Cork, Ireland. And then down
Good.
below, laying like just kick back, is Christy. He's also in Ireland. So we've got a whole Irish contingent here today. Adriana, who went to school in Ireland and all kinds of things. So welcome to all of our Irish friends here. And welcome to everyone in YouTube and in the chat. So I would like to start with some blessings if we could, because it's a good way to start. But I think, Lou, it would be nice because that's kind of right up your alley, blessings and prayers and everything. And so for today, would you be the one to start us off with some blessings and prayers?
I'd be very happy to, my friend. Thank you, and thanks for inviting me back on. It's great to be here with you again.
It's lovely to have you. I'm going to put you on spotlight.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So let me share one that just came up here from one of my indigenous brothers and sisters, 𝗪𝗓𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧. And go ahead and close your eyes, turn within, take a deep breath. O Great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds, life to all the world, hear me. I come before you, one of your many children. I am small and weak. I need your strength and wisdom. Let me walk in beauty and make my eyes ever behold the red and purple sunset. Make my hands respect the things you have made, my ears sharp to hear your voice. Make me wise so that I may know the things you have taught my people. The lesson you have hidden in every leaf and rock. I seek strength not to be superior to my brothers, but to be able to fight my greatest enemy, myself. Make me ever ready to come to you with clean hands and straight eyes. So when life fades as a fading sunset, my spirit may come to you without shame. 𝗪𝗪𝗡𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧 for all my relations. 𝗪𝗓𝗪𝗪𝗧.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful prayer. Who is 𝗪𝗓𝗪𝗧? Who is she?
I honestly don't know. It could be he. This just came across my feed before we got on. I thought, yeah, this will work.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to bow to the majesty of the earth and the wisdom of the universe and to just lay it back at their feet and in their hand. Just say,
Yeah.
hey, take care of us now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been some time since we talked, and I'm interested to see what's been going on. Last time we spoke, you were doing a lot of performing, and is that continuing for you? Songwriting?
That's actually quieted down the last 4 months. I'm hoping to get back to it, but actually, it's synchronicity. That prayer was from my brother Anthony Rodriguez, known as Walking Crow, and he's in Sedona, and he and I just did an interview recently. But the big story for me, aside from doing the Course in Miracles for the last 15 months, which has been a great blessing, doing the workbook every day in a group here, is I've had many interactions with the indigenous people in America, and they came roaring back into my life here in July. On July the 10th, they had the lighting of the 8th fire at the Choctaw Memorial in Middleton, Ireland, which was created because during the famine, the Choctaw sent over a donation that they could hardly afford at the time, but to help support the Irish brothers and sisters. And during COVID, the Irish sent over a donation in return to that. But there was a lighting of this fire that is part of the prophecy. And so we were led by an 81-year-old, half Indian, indigenous, and half Irish chap named Chief Phil Lane Jr. And I got to meet him and work with him and about 40 other teachers that came from all across particularly the Americas, South, Central, and North America. And they did the World Peace Gathering right down the road here from me as well. The fire was the 10th of July, and then the peace gathering was, I think, the 18th through the 20th. And Chief Phil had written a peace treaty, which I can pull up and send you here at some point. And but there were 40 teachers from around the world, and there were about 200 of us over a space of 3 days, and we did ceremony and prayer together, and we heard the messages. And Chief Phil has been carrying the medicine of the prophecy of the condor and the eagle. And as a young man in North America, he was invited down to Central America, and they said, you are the one that is to carry this medicine back out into the world. And his prophecy was that the indigenous cultures of the world were to connect with Ireland at this time. Yeah, and that the Irish were to be a bridge for all these indigenous cultures to bring their medicine back out into the world. So honestly, the last few months have been a lot about this. I've done an interview with Chief Phil and another beautiful elder named Standing Bear, which is on Awakened Spirits Network, which I can share as well. But that medicine has been roaring into my life in the last few months.
That's so interesting. I wasn't aware that you had a connection with indigenous people, which is really beautiful.
Yeah. I got to be at the first Star Knowledge Conference in Marty, South Dakota, with Chief, to my mind, he was Standing Elk, and he's passed on. But they've done annual Star Knowledge conferences, and they're doing one right now, actually, this month as well. And it was a way to bring, this is a perfect dovetail for all of this. It's a way to bring the indigenous wisdom into and connecting with the star beings, the star family, the star nations. There it is. And of course, many of us are following this whole story of Three Eye Atlas, and that seems to be part of that medicine of the star people getting our attention at this particular time. So there's a big story unfolding about all these things.
You know, I do know that back in the day, like back in the time when America was very young, quite a lot of Irish came over to Cape Fear, North Carolina, and did connect and work with the native tribes. And they worked in helping to defend, because the Irish were warring people at that time. They were quite fierce, and so were the Scottish. And they came over, escaping the feudalism of the British.
English. Yes.
Sorry, English that are watching. And so my family is involved in that. They came, I think I told you for a while ago, from the Isle of Jura.
Okay.
My family was there, but that was the Scottish Isles. But in any case, you know, yeah, it's quite an interesting history. So I understand that the Irish and the Native Americans have been quite connected for hundreds of years. So it makes sense. Yeah, that's amazing. And so what exactly is the prophecy of the eagle and the condor?
Right. So this ties in with the Hopi prophecy and Crazy Horse and these kinds of teachers. And the idea is that when humanity and the earth is in real crisis and confusion and fear and overwhelm, that the Rainbow Warriors, the wise souls in all the races, will come together and walk the red road together. That the medicine that the indigenous cultures have been holding for Mother Earth and humanity for thousands and thousands of years will be returned to the people, and the land will come back into harmony because of that.
Well, that's beautiful. I know that here in India, there's been over several years, they have been bringing indigenous people from all different tribes all over South America, North America, to India, because the prophecy within Hinduism is that, and I think it's the same in the indigenous cultures, that instead of talking about, you know, time being just beginning, middle, and end, that it's cyclical and that things come in cycles. And that's the same in Hinduism. They talk about the different epochs that come, and we're in what's called the Kali Yuga, which is the great darkness, and it lasts for a very long time. But there's the promise that Krishna made that whenever man is deeply into darkness, that he will come onto the planet. So they're very, the indigenous cultures and the Hinduism have very similar goals and prophecy, even though one is set in the context of, their belief system and this one, but they meld very beautifully together, and they come and they do sweat lodges here, and their elders come and speak about the planet and the earth and reconnection, and it's just a beautiful thing. We've had Incas and Mayas and all of the different indigenous people coming, so that's fascinating. I'm so excited. I actually have someone that I would like to connect you with,
Yeah,
a friend of mine, and she is also a white woman, but very much adopted, legally adopted into one of the tribes in the US. And she's doing a lot with plant medicine and the legality of that and bringing that in. And she's quite a warrior now in that, but I'll connect you with her.
great.
So,
I look
yeah.
forward to that. Yeah,
So,
lovely.
no. So how do you see your role in what you're doing with them? What is your
Yeah, well, I think I'm doing it right now with you, my friend, which is like we're doing here, just putting these seeds of truth, out into the world and helping to break up the collective unconsciousness of fear and what we call the patriarchy, the old world, the old ways of seeing things. I always follow and share the messages from Patricia Cota-Robles, right? And she actually says that the Kali Yuga ended this last spring equinox, March of this last year. And that, 2025 is a 9-year numerologically, and there are a lot of cycles ending this year. And it's my perception and experience that this is really the fork in the road for humanity, the middle point of this decade, and this 9-year moving into a 10-year or a 1-year for 2026. And so yeah, we're being really pushed to recognize the impact of what we believe and how it affects our life. I have another one here from Black Elk. Can I have your small one?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can feel it. We all feel this. I think our ability to sense the truth and to open our hearts to wisdom is really accelerating. And so when I hear these words, they just light me up. I hope they do for everyone here. This is Black Elk. He said, "And while I stood there, I saw more than I can tell, and I understood more than I saw. For I was seeing in a sacred manner the shapes of all things in the spirit, and the shape of all shapes, as they must live together like one being."
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, these
Yeah.
are very spiritually wise messages,
Yeah.
and this is the medicine that they've been carrying for humanity, no matter what the cost, for quite a long time here, for thousands of years. And like you're saying, it's the same with the Irish and the Scottish and the Celtic, and Druidic traditions here. I'm look forward to Christy and other people sharing about this, because I'm just the new kid on the block still, learning these things about Ireland and my ancestry and why I got called here. But there is undoubtedly a deep connection in all these wisdom teachings.
Well, all of the ancient wisdom that is connected to the earth has the same truths. And
Yes.
and so, I don't find it surprising. It's quite beautiful that everyone can come from their own tradition to the same conclusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
My motto is, it's almost like there's a higher power at work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, I think the odds are getting pretty good there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do want to just jump around a little, unless
Yeah,
Chris, somebody has something to add. I don't know if you have anything to add, Christy, or anything, but
well, here, can I add to what I'm said, and then we'll come back to.
absolutely. No,
Okay.
stay. Yeah,
So the
100%.
other thing here is the divine timing of our talking right now is that Ireland just lost one of its most powerful spiritual teachers, and this is a young man, Manchán Magan, who just passed away at the age of 55. But he was the author of 7 books, and he and his brother Ruan did a lot of documentaries for the Irish TV. And he grew up a speaker of Gaelic, a speaker of the Irish language, and they were great proponents of bringing the Irish language back. And as I was saying, I'm just finishing my 3rd month of weekly Gael Talk Irish conversation groups at the library every Wednesday. Yeah. And now I'm doing this great language app, Duolingo. I'm on day 94 or something like this on Duolingo lessons. And so all of that was kind of a setup to fall in love with this wonderful teacher who's just passed over, Manchán Magan. And someone's written a poem here about Manchán. To know, he sold about 250,000 books so far before he passed. And the last one was, this makes the Irish laugh, the last one was called 99 Names for Rain and 1 for Sun. There you go. And
I can see that joke would do well in Holland as well, I think.
Oh, exactly. So there's a series that he and his brother did just recently for the Irish TV, which I'll try to post if I can, called "Listen to the Land Speak," and he actually traveled around the country. And from being here, it's a pretty small place, compared to a lot of other countries in the world. But as you're talking about the spirits and the fairies and the fae and the sacred sites and all that, Ireland has more stone structures, more sacred stone sites than any other country in the world, evidently. So there's a lot that's hidden here for such a small space. But I'll just give you a sample of this poem for Manchán. It's called "White Light in a Hollow Country." And it goes like this. I heard the news like a bruise on the membrane of morning, how you slipped from dusk's fingers while the rain was still speaking its 99 names. You who wandered in Irish syllables, planting lost words into soil, calling names back into the throat of place. Now you are the echo, the absence between 2 pulses. I imagine you walking beyond the forest, where the language of birds becomes older than our grief. You bear a white light on your ribs, a luminous body no illness could hold, no sorrow finally contain. There is a hollow in my tongue where your voice once dwelt. In that hollow I gather lost leaves, tiny seeds of your telling, trying to plant them back in song. You spoke of death as the truer land, 1 foot already in the other world. I see you there now, drinking a language of wind, turning your face to hidden stars. But we are left with your books, your footsteps in bog and forest, your whisper in the Irish throat, your challenge to speak the unsaid, to walk the land as you did, listening to its bones and letting your tongue travel with it. I will grieve under wildflowers only, offer my syllables to the wind, let tears fall as rain does, naming you, Manchán, with each word I tend for you. Rest in that other country, you luminous wanderer. You spirit of words, we carry your silence with us until we speak you again.
Oh, that's lovely. Isn't it interesting that how a country like Ireland, that is so rich in so many different cultural traditions and history, has also, in all this sort of hidden secrets, also has given birth to some of the most incredible voices of poetry and literature, that these sort of literary sages speak the truth of the land. And even the folk music is so incredibly deep, and it's so born within I guess the ground is soaked with it, and whatever is born in that fertile soil just becomes so rich. It's interesting because you just see all this incredible culture and everything with Ireland. I always find it fascinating that certain lands have these sort of inherent talents that
Yeah.
go with them. And just like I don't know, even the weather and the crashing waves against the moors, and all of these things are so part of all of the speak of the poets and everything. I just think it's incredibly well connected and beautifully orchestrated like that. And if you dive in, there's such a wealth of information to relish and enjoy, and
Yes.
I
Yes.
think it's fascinating. Yeah.
Well, you're saying it beautifully. I mean, that was just breathtaking what you just shared there, and it's true, hon. This is how we all recognize each other.
Mhm.
These are our values. And as we were saying earlier, the world has its games and its dramas and its ups and downs, and it's overwhelming sometimes, and it's challenging. But as I said, if we keep coming back to the truth, and as the prayer at the beginning, what great humility,
Mhm.
and devotion, and just give ourselves, body and soul back to love, to truth, to peace, then you get reborn in that, every time you do it. And I really do believe this is the fork in the road. These are the times when the results of our actions and thoughts and feelings and intentions and expectations become much more dynamic in the reflection of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to, did you have anything else? I don't want to jump ahead
Oh,
of
go
you.
ahead. Go ahead. Take it away.
No, that is something that's on everyone's mind, and you
Yeah.
mentioned it, so I'd like to go to it because we get questions about it every week.
Yeah.
The 3-eye atlas thing. Has it passed yet, or is just past Mars and it's heading past us now or towards us? When is it arriving? Like in another week
Well,
or so?
yeah. What I saw is that it's shifted course. I'm not
Oh,
making it up. Yes, from passing behind the sun to going directly into the sun.
oh,
Now, yeah.
wow.
Now, since NASA, wasn't able to turn their cameras on for some good reason while it passed Mars, because the American government had run out of money that day, and they sent NASA home because only the most mysterious object we've ever had in this lifetime. We don't want to, spend
We don't
any
know.
extra money we don't have. Turn the camera on. So
Yeah.
yeah, we really don't know what it looks like, but it's clearly acting unlike any natural object. So it's at least influenced by a real consciousness. If it's not a ship itself, I think that's a safe, idea. Christy, do you have a thought about that?
He turned on his camera, so I think he must.
Yeah, you just popped up there. You're muted.
You have to turn on your microphone though.
Yeah, no, listening to the conversation, it's interesting, like just around sacred sites, besides what's coming in from other universes. But what came to mind is down around your area, Lou, you have supposedly in Kerry the burial of Scotia.
What is that?
Scotia's grave. Are you aware of that, Lou? No?
No, I mean, Carrie's 2.5 hours from me, so you're telling me something.
Yeah, it's a burial site. Scotia's it's a burial site. She's buried an ancient queen, connected to some pharaoh in Egypt. Now it's a landmark, and it's you can get access to it. It's in off the road, but like it's quite interesting that she's buried here in Ireland, like and she has a connection to Egypt, like.
Right.
Um, that just came to my mind there when you were speaking. But yeah, I mean, when Karen asked a question there just around, the folklore around like the leprechauns and things like that. I have
We had asked
shared,
that before we went live, everyone. So all I did is ask if Lou had had any encounters. So, okay, go ahead, Christy. I just wanted to clarify for people who didn't know when
yeah,
we were.
sorry, yeah. Yeah, there's a tree being I'm connecting to. I might have shared it here on Hucolo or with some of the members, and it was actually Jim Charles brought him. Well, Rentura's brought him forward. A tree being called Bic, and it's coming to Earth from the Tree Collective from another reality to support the Tree Collective on Earth. Just around the situation that the Tree Collective is facing here as we speak, but besides all that, there's many sacred sites, yeah, Lou, that some of them are quite interesting. You have the Hill of Tara there just outside Navan, which is quite famous and has been. Yeah, so we are surrounded. You don't have to go very far or look very far. There is plenty of sites available to anyone that has that interest.
Yeah, beautiful.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
One of the scenes in the film about Mankan is him lighting the Bealtaine fire on the 1st of May at the Hill of Ishnok. And they've his funeral, if anyone's really interested in understanding this man, his funeral was broadcast on YouTube, and it's available there. And it was 3 hours long, and he was given 3 standing ovations by the people there. Yeah. And I've never seen anything like that in my life. So like you're saying, Christy, the land and the history is just, vibrating and waiting for us to, put more attention and open our hearts to what the spirits want to teach us all. And this gentleman's been rightly celebrated for his part in helping us to know that that's important, I'd say.
Yes.
So in the indigenous people that you're dealing with, what are they saying about the 3i Atlas? You said they see it as part of it, but in what way did they see it as part of it?
I haven't had that conversation with any of my new friends. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned that.
Well, so the Star Knowledge Conference is really quite a powerful thing. And this was the first time that the indigenous people of America went public in a big way and started talking about their connection to the Star Nations. And they did some powerful things, when I was there. And they, beings were showing up and visiting with people. I wasn't conscious for this, but I knew it was happening at some point while I was asleep, actually, when I was trying to stay awake. And, people saw ships and, all this kind of thing. But this is old hat to these folks. They've been knowing this for forever. It's just that I do really believe, and 3i seems to be a bridge to help humanity, cross this paradigm. That's, we're, of course, the universe is populated with consciousness. And, people have been seeing ships and experiencing things, Christy, I don't have to tell you, for a long time, and very personally and very intimately. There's people out there. Lily Nova is one that I've listened to who's quite good. And Nancy Rebecca, who's been on with Pam Gregory, a wonderful astrologer. And, they're interacting with the beings of light, with the ETs, etc., for some time. And they're all getting very good information. So what is all of that? It seems to be, like we could talk about any of these subjects, peace in Gaza, for the moment, thank God, or the digital ID movement, or, politics in general, etc. All these old paradigms, are swirling and churning. And like we're talking about the end of one age and the beginning of another, the astrology of 3i Atlas is right in the middle of a trine water sign with Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter holding the space for a month. And so November, December should be a lot of purification, grief, rebirth, creativity, life force, a fountain of energy that helps us to move through the old, stuck, dead, slow, stubborn, resistant, masculine, energies towards the feminine flow of rebirth. So, we'll see what happens shortly, because it's whatever it is, of course, we're all drawing into our experience, what we believe, what we're open to. So when we're saying things are accelerating, they're helping us to become more conscious, I believe, of the impact of our beliefs and the choices that we're all making.
Yeah, I just saw, I don't follow him that much anymore. And I was never a big, huge follower, though. When he did a big channeling, I would inevitably sort of hear of it. But Bashar, back in 2015 or 2014 even, quite noticeably said that in 2016, everything will change. And it did. And he has now come again recently and said in 2027, everything will change. So, I mean, he's 1 for 1. So I can imagine he might be 2 for 2. But he talks about that as the time where the hybrids will be identified, because they're already here, apparently. It's not that they're coming, but they're here. And the races that are already on the planet will be stepping forward in a public way. So you might already know, you might already know beings that are,
Sure.
I'm like, I've met people before where I'm certain that they're fairies. Like, I'm just certain. There's one person in particular that I just see her. She's just elven. I know elves and fairies may not be the same, but she just is. And there's just no denying it. The shape of her head, the point of her nose, the way her ears are, the way her physicality is. She is. And her interests and all the things. She may not even know it herself. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's probably some hybrid person, but she really is. And through my time, there's sometimes where you look at someone and you go, that person's very feline. That person is very this, that person is very that. And I just have to imagine we're going to find out what those things mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very well said. To me, we're creating our reality from the inside out.
Yeah.
All this is a matrix, this is a hologram, this is a simulation, this is not real. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies God, right?
Yeah.
Course of Miracles. So, and the Indians saying the same thing, the indigenous the same. It's I think, whatever you can imagine, reality will reflect that to you as an experience, if that is helpful for your growth,
Yes.
awakening, healing, and growth. So it's all there to be created. And Patricia and others, Lazarus, Bashar, of course, they've saying for 20 years, if not longer, we're making this shift from the 3rd to the 5th dimension, and we think it's out there, but really it's inside of us. It's an inside job, as the saying goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made me think of this woman who was doing a radio show at the time that I was doing one years ago, and she's Brazilian, but she's also, and her husband was indigenous, and she's indigenous Brazilian, and her podcast was Earth, Sky, People. That was her. That was the title of her. Victoria Vives is her name, and that was her thing. And the first time I ever channeled was on her show, and she asked Theos, when is contact going to come? When are we going to meet our intergalactic brothers and sisters? And Theos said, which was interesting because it was the first time I channeled live for anyone. And I would say it was my first major channeling of someone else asking questions,
Right.
And
Yeah.
Theo said, intragalactic is inside, it's internal. So it was very, at that time, you know, and they were saying, stop looking outside yourself. Everything is going to be inside. And our intergalactic connection will be an internal, inner connection. So the reason I bring it up is because that's what you just basically said.
Yeah.
And it happened to be on a show called Earth Sky People with an indigenous person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you know, Lazarus has talked, my teacher of 40 years, that this is the same moment as we had, all of us, in our lifetime in Atlantis. And, you know, that of choosing technology over spirit was the mistake that was made, which is why Atlantis was destroyed in one version of reality. And so we're going to make the correct choice this time with a lot of help, like we're saying, a lot of reminders, you know, and you know, bring our wisdom and our love together and begin to build a world that's worth living in, you know, bring heaven on earth and see the sacred in all of life, you know, the unity consciousness in all of life. And the signs literally are everywhere. The solar flares, the Schumann resonance, the earthquakes, the volcanoes, the ring of fire, you know, on floods, fires, on and on it goes. People can decide where these things are coming from, but all of them, you know, what's natural and what's unnatural. And you can make an argument for both, for sure. But definitely the energies of creation are accelerating and intensifying on the planet towards some crescendo.
Yeah.
You know, unsustainable.
It's what's interesting is that I feel like we're moving towards almost like a stasis as opposed to I feel like we'll reach a point, and I felt like this the other day, and I'm just sort of voicing it. I feel like things are going to progress to a sort of singularity point.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like time will stop at that time. I don't think anything will end, but time in our approach to time, I mean, years will pass, time will go, but I just mean that our ability to have you ever been in a whiteout?
I don't
Have you
know.
ever? Okay,
Oh,
well,
yes, of snow. Yeah, sure.
yes. And you know how you have no perception of depth? You
Yeah.
know, you don't know. The first time I ever experienced it was in the Netherlands. I was driving in the north of the Netherlands, and the snow was so high and the sky was so cold that the sky was white, the ground was white. There was a place I knew where a turnoff was but the sky was so high, and I also knew there were sort of gullies around the turnoff, but everything was one level and the sky was white, and you had no perception of where you were in that space. And I just feel that we're racing towards that sort of whiteout of everything being now, which it is now, but I think the illusion of time is really going to change. And I don't know why that will happen that way, but it just feels to me like with AI, and I wanted to ask you about AI, with, you know, the way things are moving, I just feel like we're going to lose a sense of where we are in time and space.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
I
know how to
won't.
explain it, but that's what I feel it. And I felt that way, not in the way I feel it now. I don't feel distressed by it. I feel peaceful about it.
Yes.
But in 2020, in July of 2019, I knew something was coming. And
Okay.
I had text messages to my friend, and we were discussing that for whatever reason, I couldn't see past March of 2020. I couldn't perceive it, that it felt like a whiteout. And I feel that's also coming again, though in 2020, I didn't feel like it was a good thing. I
Right.
felt it was a very weird, scary thing, and I could never see the end of it until we got to like 2021. I started to see it coming through the summer. Like I could see like all of a sudden in May, I felt like things lifted again and things started moving. But for that whole year and a half, I had a feeling like it was one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
One day that had a lot of events going on and days and nights within it, but one long moment. And I feel like we're moving towards that. But I think that's where mankind is going to live,
I
in this
agree.
continual time space thing. I don't know what to call it.
Well, it's eternity is one word for it,
Yeah, yeah,
eternity and immortality.
yeah,
My guides teach, I absolutely agree with what you're saying, that these are, you know, like we created, God and all of us created the darkness in order to learn about the light,
right.
and in 3D, we create the cold to learn about warm, and we create hungry to learn about full, and, masculine, feminine, all these dualities. But then, when we transcend the illusions of separation, what my guides call the heart of the paradox, the seeming differences that get resolved at a higher level, like you're saying, then we step out of the time and space, construct of consciousness, and we come back to the eternal. And of course, I mean, everyone here has heard people's near-death experiences, and almost invariably, nobody wants to come back, because spirit is such a blissful, loving, peaceful, accepting, joyous place.
Yeah,
But we all made the agreements, and we were chosen, I believe, to be here in this, particular experience, the illusion of separation, as the illusion is ending, like we're saying, and
right.
the truth is returning. This is one of the lines from the Course in Miracles that we might relate to here. It says, "The teachers of God have trust in the world because they have learned it is not governed by the laws the world made up. It is governed by a power that is in them, but not of them. It is this power that keeps all things safe."
Wow. Yeah,
It's Jesus, Yeshua saying, "Be in the world, but not of it."
right.
And that really is the heart of the paradox, is, can I see this as a beautiful dream that I have chosen to inhabit and make real, in order to learn about love and light in this illusion of separation?
Right. Yeah. Krishna says to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah,
Krishna starts sort of freaking out that he has to fight this war against, members of his family, and that he doesn't want to take anybody's life. He doesn't want to do these things. And Krishna says, "Oh, really? You think you have the power of life and death? You think that you are really affecting anything? You are eternal. You were never born. You will never die. You've always been." And that, so all of the things that are happening, they are just a sort of a cosplay. I mean, they're happening to us in reality. You fall down, you hurt your knee, you've heard it in this reality. But in the bigger reality, none of it is real. And we think that we're running the show, and we really aren't. But we are the show as well, and we're participating in it. And once we remember that we are just participating, then, the proverbial curtain comes off the Wizard of Oz, and
yeah,
there you are.
yeah.
And
Well
just
said.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and especially around love. You
Yeah.
know, as you know, with all the service that you have practiced, my friends, and Christy and everybody here, it's the more we can love ourselves and the people and the places and things and animals and nature in our life, the more reality begins to turn itself inside out to help us achieve those intentions.
Yes.
And we call those miracles. And the Course says this is the way you're meant to live. You know, a miracle is just normal life, living from a state of love.
Let me ask you a question about Course in Miracles, because I go through stages with it, and
Okay.
I visited, and
You're the only one. No one else has ever
because-
done that. Yeah.
No, no, but I'm just speaking from my own standpoint, because
Yes.
I'm busy with the Hindu text, which, you know, you're talking about a whole other language, a Sanskrit, and I'm got my hands full here. But
Sure. You have
I
my
mean,
respect.
I've got a lifetime, I've got like 20 lifetimes of stuff I have to learn, you know. But in Course in Miracles, now that you've been in an in-depth study of it, and I encourage everyone who hasn't picked it up, hasn't felt attracted to it, ask yourself, is that something for me? Because it is a course you will do eventually. What in your current examination of Course in Miracles has surprised you that maybe you had forgotten, never heard before, or was revelationary for you?
That's a great question. You know, it's like I'm very blessed because I have a group that I sit with most mornings, you know,
Yeah.
to do the work together, and then there's a space to share, you know, and ask for feedback and all of that. And I have to say, it completely transcends language and teaching, and it just is this persistent, beautiful, constant reminder that this is true, that this is the truth, that you are one with your creator, that you are made in his likeness and image, and that the only thing stopping you from knowing this is your own fears, doubts, and judgments.
Yeah.
And so if I can every day, you know, like we started there, we started in the deep end of the pool, our brother's saying, you know, I don't know what my eyes for, teach me to see. That's about it. You know, I strive, like this is also the indigenous teachers in general and the course strive to remember to give myself to God wholeheartedly every day. And then the piece that comes from that, to answer your question, my friend, is what is different. It's deeper, it's more solid, it's more available, and it's like we're saying, living from the inside out. That inner peace has expanded and has become more real than the outer world a lot of the time.
Well, that's beautiful. Do you
It
feel
is.
like it's deep anymore?
Yes,
Have you?
it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I got it.
What was your question?
Do you feel like it's deepened your faith, expanded your faith, changed your faith, defined your faith? How has it affected you in your, because I feel like you are a very strong man of faith and you always have been. But has it shifted that for you? Has it
Yes.
redefined it? In what way?
Yeah. Well, because it takes it out of the mind.
Okay.
You know, it puts it back into I think of Tom Hanks lying on his raft, you know, in the sea,
Yeah.
before he gets rescued, and he's done everything, and his heart breaks open, and he says, "I'm sorry," and he's weeping, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry," and he puts his oars in the water before that happens, and then the rescue happens.
Right.
It really, to me, that is our story. Is that I have to, if I can, give myself that clarity of surrendering the illusion to the truth that I am here to learn and remember, then I don't have to add one to the other. Like, how does this truth fit into my limited thinking or my, you know, jaded consciousness or my cynicism? No, I just give the rest of that to this in faith, believing, surrender myself to this. And then that surrendering becomes more a grounding of peace in my body and in my spirit. And that is what I'm resting in.
I will tell you that there was a moment where the spiritual leader here, Sadhviji, she talks about how she has a story like everyone. She was a normal California girl You know, she grew up in a privileged home, went to Stanford, got her doctorate, et cetera, et cetera. And she came to India with, the only reason she came to India is because she's been a lifelong vegetarian, and she knew she could get good vegetarian food without having to like.
She came for a decent meal. She came for a good meal.
She came with her husband at the time, and she was quite young. She was 24, 25 at that time. So she was married quite young, but she came with her husband, who was on a sort of spiritual journey, and he came to find his truth. But she just came along because she was like, she wasn't opposed to coming because, hey, you know, they could hike and there was vegetarian food everywhere. So for her, it was like that. But there was a moment where she had met the spiritual leader here, and she was very anxious to tell her story of drama and trauma that she had. She had an eating disorder. Her father had abandoned her, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the things that usually would get someone to go, oh, you poor dear, you know. And he said, well, how long are you going to tell yourself that story? And how long, you know, and when is it going to be time for you to move past it? Are you going to wait till you die? Are you going to, you know, you're a young person.
Yeah.
And he told her to go to the Ganges, the river, and just to speak everything into the water and just release it into the water. And she thought, oh yeah, right. Okay, whatever. I'll do it. But she did then on the way to the river, she decided, you know what? Why not? I've done everything else. I've been in therapy. I've, you know, had an eating disorder. I've, you know, been depressed, been traumatized. I've been a psychologist. Why don't I just really try to give it? And when she did, when she finally released it, it was like she said her eyes opened and she had this epiphany moment while standing in the Ganges River, which in India we know or believe that Ganga is a goddess in the form of a river. She's here on earth to help with many things, but she stays on the earth as to help the earth. And so she's standing in the midst of the Ganga, and she releases this life of trauma, and all of a sudden her eyes opened and she just looked around, and all she could do was cry and say, it's just so beautiful. Because she just saw for a moment, and maybe continually, I don't know that it's a constant with her, that she sees it all the time, but she remembers it so vividly. She got to just be part of everything, and to see the divine order, and to see that, like, just by letting go, you know, she finally got the rescue she'd been waiting for her whole life. She remembered herself. And that's what's that's everybody's journey on some level, whether you do it in the Ganges or in your home or in Ireland or whatever country you're in, that you finally release the story of thinking, I'm this person who lives in this place and has this job, and this is my identity, and this is my bank account, and these are all the stories I've been told my whole life. When you finally release that and let that go, and you realize you are one with the creator, you are that creator, you're free.
That is right.
Yeah. So
pretty simple.
Huh?
Pretty simple.
It's simple, and yet it's the journey of man. It's the journey. It's this, you know, people say, what is my purpose here? Well, that's your real purpose, to remember yourself. People say, yeah, but what about this? It's like, no, that's the purpose. It's just it's simple, but it's hard because it's really letting go of the identity of this need to be anything other than your true self. You want to be this, you want to be that. I want to be famous. I want to be an influencer. I want to be, you know, but maybe just wanting that connection is so nice. And so if Course in Miracles is grounding that into you, then that's all you can really ask for.
Well, you're making a beautiful point here. It's you know, my guides say the heart knows what the mind struggles to believe and understand. And basically what the Course talks about is that the world is a creation of the ego. and the ego is believing that it has a better idea than God does about how to live. And like you're saying, it keeps substituting one pursuit after another without end. And, you're always getting to the next thing, and it's never enough. Or you're solving one problem, and then there's a dozen others, etc. And
because oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, just so the thing is, it's like with your deep work, my friend, and Christy's experiences, and everyone here, it's like, quantum physics, Nikola Tesla, the life wave patches, David Schmidt, to throw that in. It's all about vibration.
Yeah.
And so, as I said, every scientist is saying the vibrations are going crazy on this planet right now. And as a result, people are going crazy, and we're just entering this new time. We're all feeling this and sensing this in our dreams and in our nervous system, etc. And we, this is out of control, and there's that agenda, and this, etc. And, all those things are true on the level of the mind. Right. But beyond the mind, I bless my enemies because I have none. God, if God be for me, who could be against me? Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace.
Yeah. St. Francis.
Sorry?
I said that's St. Francis of Assisi.
Yeah. So anything that has real spiritual power behind it, of the truth of our oneness with each other and all of life, is a manifestation of our wisdom. And so whether I'm doing ceremony with the Native Americans, or I'm doing the Course in Miracles, or I'm sitting with my friend Krishnappriya and Christy, etc., we're all, touching on the same thing. It's just that to really have, like you and I are blessed to have, and many others here, a devotion to a particular practice that allows the history of that journey and the experience of many others, on that journey to help us and guide us, is a whole deeper thing. But at the same time, many old practices don't necessarily respond and react to the experience of being here now. So, we have a foot in each world is the simple way to say it. This is what Moncon McGann was teaching everyone to great effect. And this is a guy who was totally at peace with his death, and was curious about the next chapter, and was looking forward to coming back. And, there's such freedom in that. So I'm just saying that if we can come to peace, in moments like here today, and support each other, then spirit, which is peace, can then connect with us. Right. And the longer and the deeper we're able to do that, the more of an influence and an impact and an impression that's making in our emotional and mental and physical and light bodies and all of that. So, we're all being downloaded, these new programs right now from the sun. I believe this is what Patricia talks about, how all of our suns beyond suns, they're all connected. And we're getting the fifth dimensional crystalline solar vibrations from on high. And that's how we're preparing to make this quantum leap in consciousness. And everyone will make this leap at some point. And those of us that are looking in this direction and have been one way or another led to these ideas throughout this lifetime and other lifetimes, we are the ambassadors of helping other people understand that this is real, that this is possible, and this is worth pursuing. And it's pretty humbling, when you realize that all of life has been this hidden treasure of spiritual wisdom and love and freedom that we have been too blind to see, too confused, too frightened, too attached, too distracted, etc. But so what, 3i and all the rest of it, it's what spirit is going to do is going to take all our distractions out of the way. You see, however it chooses to do that. And people are going to be face to face with their beliefs and the unknown, as you said, with the whiteout or through the dark night of the soul, etc. However, and that's when we're going to either get that gift or reject that gift and come back and try another time. I think that's the simple way to say what's happening in this lifetime.
It's really interesting.
You think?
I think, well, no, I mean, I really do think it's interesting because it's such a, it's like I have memories of another life that was this life.
Wow.
I have memories of being, 20, moving to New York, the excitement of being on the street there, walking around, learning the neighborhood, going to get a pizza, going out and seeing, friends, and just not a care in the world about any of this, not affected by the politics or the state of the world. And yeah, maybe it's a sense of ignorance, but it was a sense of safety and surety, and just, you knew what to do, you knew how to do it, and you got on with it. And it was a very fun time. It was just fun. You go see a band, you have this freedom, and you get, I mean, just, and then now it's like that world is gone in a way,
Well, there
that
was beautiful innocence there,
well, there was innocence, but even into my 30s and being in the Netherlands and living my life there, and just, I don't know, it's like that world is so far away. It doesn't exist. I'm sure it does for a lot of people, but I think for people who are quote unquote awake or in pursuit of truth, it doesn't exist anymore. It's such a different. I wasn't thinking about a mission or a striving. I loved God. I knew that. But I wasn't on a daily basis wondering if our planet was going to cease to exist at any moment, or
Right.
or
Right.
if, somebody in some high political place was going to do something even more stupid than they did the day before. I mean, it's just, these things of, how you're seeing systems breaking down and falling apart and ceasing to be, and not for the most part to the advantage of the people that are being affected, but truly highly to the disadvantage. And this sort of idea of a real divide between love and not love. And that's what Theo's always said to me in the very beginning. Always ask yourself, is this love or not love? And that should be your barometer for everything. And we're seeing so much now that is not love. It is not. It is mean, and it is harsh, and it's vile, and it's really not love. And to see it so blatant now, I think as much as I'm watching it, I'm marveling at just the sheer magnitude of it. That is, you just think, is there a bottom?
Oh, there is.
Is
Yes.
that, are we getting there?
Well,
Because it's
yeah,
getting really crazy.
honey, I'll give you the course one more time.
Thank you.
Sure, hun. So pain and fear are literally the illusions of this reality, in quotes. And we create pain and fear to get our attention, to come back to love and forgiveness, if you like,
I'm gonna be coming back at it hard because there is a lot of pain. And I don't think I'm really afraid. I'm really marveling at the I can say I'm honestly not afraid. I'm really in awe, and not in the good way, of just, wow. I keep hearing that song, How Low Can You Go? How low can you go? It is gonna go, it's going down. It's going down, and it's happening in a way that I wouldn't have bet on it to go like this. This was not on my bingo card of
No.
of ways things would transpire. So for me, I'm like, wow, I didn't see that coming. Nope, didn't see that. Nope, didn't see that. And I see a lot of stuff, and I
Well,
miss a whole bunch of it.
yeah, honey, this is so the Native Americans and the indigenous people, they say this is the fifth sun that we've done this experience, you know, that they're aware of four times, you know, if I have that right. And so we've built and destroyed the world 4 times in this cycle. And it's probably many, many more times than that. And so innocence has its place and it's important, but ignorance is, you know, if you believe in things you don't understand, you suffer. Is Stevie Wonder's great line. I always wind up quoting that here for some reason. And so it's okay, you know, God says it's okay to be innocent and ignorant, but not forever, you know, because real power comes with responsibility. And responsibility is wisdom. Chief Phil Lane Jr. in his prayers would say, I am totally responsible for my thoughts, words, and actions every time. And that made quite an impression on me. And it's the same thing for all of us. If we want freedom, we need to take responsibility for our choices. Even, you know, when you and I have done healing sessions with our clients over the years, you know, I wound up saying to people, you've got to understand that though these things happen when you were innocent or unconscious, until you take responsibility for needing to invite this experience into your life for some reason, you can't get your power back. And you can't cease feeling like a victim. And so, like, you're really making a great point, my friend. The whole planet is in some stage of victim consciousness that is striving to awaken from that. And so the earth, who loves us and is our divine mother, and our creator who loves us and is our divine father and divine mother as well, they're all knowing that we will come home to them again. And the only question is, what will it take for each of us to wake up? And so when we do awaken, we stop hating and fearing the unknown in each other or in the world. And we start taking our power back by taking responsibility and striving to be an inspiration and an example to each other.
Yeah, I think that's I actually had this conversation with someone today. I was doing a reading with a man, and he was telling me how he had lost his motivation. He'd been dealing with depression, but not like clinical depression, but just feeling like he always carried a weight with him, and he wanted to know how to release it. And I said, well, you know, there's many things you can do. And I told him, I said, you need to focus on holistically eating right, getting enough rest, meditating, grounding, going into appreciation and forgiveness. And he goes, you're a psychic and you're telling me to eat right? And I said, yeah. I said, your mind, body, spirit. And he didn't want that. He wanted to know. And he goes, you know, everything I'm trying. And I said, going back to the very beginning, I said, your battle is inside of you. It's not outside of you. And until you look inside, until you really are willing to be very honest, really honest with yourself about choices that are made, things that have been done, not to say you're bad or you deserve punishment or any of that, but to just say, yes, that is something that is happened. It's something that has been done. It's something that I've experienced, but it's not me. It's not my true essence. You know, until you're really willing to like release those things that as the being your defined story, you're gonna always feel lost because you're anchored in illusion and you're not anchored in the truth of who you are. But he got so mad when I told him that he had to take responsibility for his life. And it's not just because people say that, you know, they think taking responsibility means that they're to blame or that they've done something wrong and that they're at fault. It's not a judgment handed down where you have to do penance. It's just to say, yeah, I played a part in this because of my ignorance, my lack of knowledge, my choice of priorities. I did take this action. And that is karma. People, I think karma is chasing you with a clipboard, but karma is a result. Karma just means action. So every action has a result, and it might be lifetimes or it might be now. you build new karma by what you do and choose now. So in
Yeah.
that space, you can choose to change your karma or to work through your karma now. So, and we were so harsh with ourselves that the idea of looking inside, God, what's in there? I don't even want to know. If I open that closet, it might, the boogeyman might really come out. But truly, what's inside us is will heal us.
Yes. Yes. So that's the quote from Jesus. That's perfect. He says, when you release what is within you, what is within you will save you. And if you deny what is within you, what is within you will destroy you.
See, I just thought I was being smart. I didn't realize Jesus said that too.
Well, smart as a small club in this world. Yes. They're all right next to each other.
I will be happy to quote alongside Jesus. That's
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, the truth is the truth. When we have a crisis, a real crisis in our lives or in the world, we get thrown back into ourselves, and then we're searching for what can I do to respond to this. Responsibility is our ability to respond, is one of Lazarus's great quotes. And so when I'm coming from the truth, when I've surrendered the agenda and I've said, what is it that I'm to learn from this, or what am I to give to this? God, what is your will for me in this situation? And you really open your heart and quiet your mind and ask for that. And you hear something or sense something and you get an answer and you act on that, and you see things get easier and better, then okay, I can trust that. So like what you're saying about innocence and ignorance and karma, and we're talking about responsibility and wisdom and empowerment, is we haven't learned what is the deeper part of ourselves that we need to listen to trust. That is connected to all of life and all of creation. That's the part that we want to be in touch with and give our trust to, not the exchange one drama for another over and over and over again.
Right. It makes me think of that John Popper song where he was, the reason that we look outside of ourselves, and what all commercialism is built on, this idea that everything outside you need more and more and more to feel better, to feel good, to, and when
Everything
we
is outside.
everything's outside, and
Everything good is outside, the ego.
everything good is outside. I used to say, and I used to say it as a joke, like I used to say, oh, I guess this eyeshadow is going to change my life. It's gonna make me dance through the
5 minutes.
beach or whatever, and it's gonna be that one thing that shifts my life. And it could be a car, it could be a house, it could be, the next clothes, the next trend, the next thing, and those things are great, but they're not going to heal you. They're not going to make you feel better. It's whether it's food or drugs or any of those things that alter you but don't heal you. They can further throw you into the illusion that you're not.
Yeah. You're right. Just take it the next step, which is every one of us is a child of God that's forgotten that we're a child of God. And until we are willing to address that and remember it in our own way, nothing is going to substitute for that God-shaped hole in our hearts for very long.
Yeah.
And eventually you get, a friend of mine used to say, so many rides on the karmic wheel of life and death, and you get a little tired of it after a while. You want to wake up and be free. Freedom is what our spirit is based upon, is made of. It's looking for that opportunity to express and experience itself fully and freely, and giving our power away and trusting people that are unworthy of our trust and believing lies and illusions. That's the cycle we've run out of now. That's the game we've run to the end of. And now, this is the chaos of the no man's land between the old way, the old world, and the new world. And it's it's everyone choosing to believe what they now understand.
Yeah.
Christy's jumping in.
Go ahead, Christy. What?
Very interesting topic, folks. Very interesting. And what was coming up for me there as Lou was speaking and you were responding and engaging, Karen, is like, when do you want the suffering to stop? Well, you know,
Yeah.
you're in control here. You might feel that you're out of control, but like, when do you want the suffering to stop? It's entirely your choice.
Mhm.
And from what I see and what I hear, the majority of the collectors, sadly, remain in the thinking brain, like they've moved away from the heart chakra. And that is because what was raised there earlier on, and it's got to do with life in general. Call it AI, call it technology, call it what you want. But the majority of the masses are inclined to go that route, like, because they don't understand, as both of you have explored, the answers are within, like, and going there sometimes is painful, it's difficult, and we struggle identifying with the issue, like, and a lot of the time the issue is self, and that can be a problem, taking responsibility. As Lou mentioned earlier on, like, I can be a victim today if I choose to be a victim. It's entirely up to me, like, and yeah, and but it's interesting as to where we are at the moment, because as we are aware, like, there is a shift. There's a shift because of the energy that's hitting Gaia as we speak, like, and it's interesting how it's playing out, not just in this country, but across Europe. You can see it, like, and there's a lot of turbulence, like, and everybody's asking questions and everyone wants answers, like, so yeah. Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Thank you, Christy.
What comes to mind, and this is the thing when I was talking about that, there's so much sort of cruelty now, harshness now, and when you have people who have the time for introspection, who have the ability to choose to have less, to live a more simple life by choice, they're on a different path than a person who is struggling to just put food on their table, or, and so many of the struggles that we are talking about, that I'm expressing, are really struggles of the mind. They're definitely happenings that have happened in a lifetime, but generally in a lifetime of relative well-being, as far as having a place to live, or not a place to live, but food to eat. And but when you talk about, like, and I think about some of the people that I see here or in other countries, or even the US, when you're in such a survival mode, when you're put down into that lowest form of reptilian sort of energy of just having to, like, survive, these are not questions that you can even attend to. And the whole thing of cruelty in this world is really designed to keep people in the lowest state of mind, the lowest survival mindset, because then they don't evolve. And when they don't evolve, they don't have power, and they're easily manipulated, because it's always this, life will get a little better if you just do this, and blaming, and so much negative energy. And so we really are in a spiritual battle now for the freedom of humanity to wake up. But in order for humanity to wake up, we do have to take care of each other. We have to make sure that we are looking out for those. No one should be homeless. No one should be starving.
Right.
No one should be without the basic things, the basic needs. When I was in college, I've said this many times, but it was life-changing for me when I went into an art history class. Dr. McDonald, who is now passed on, he said, no society can thrive when people's basic needs are not met. And he was talking about art, and he was talking about creative arts and the beautiful things that come out of humans when they are able to thrive and to succeed. And when you take that all away, you devolve into this sort of nail scratching, biting, primal kind of energy that is only thinking in terms of I need, I don't have, I want, I don't have. And it's deepest into the illusion because you're starving or you're living in fear or you're constantly at war, or, you don't get a chance to have these deep, beautiful thoughts of who am I? Why am I here? You don't have those existential experiences. I mean, some people do, obviously, but what I'm saying is that the real battle now is to move out of fear. We have to also shift our entire societies and our entire mindset of who is in charge, who's making laws, who's directing countries, who's giving people their perceived rights that they may or may not have, in order that they can also have the ability to sit in their home, drink a cup of coffee, and conceive of who they are beyond their body, and that's the real thing that I feel is so much more at the surface than it's ever been. The line between it is so clear now. Lou talked about it for many years, the obvious manipulation of our minds and our thoughts and what we think is important versus the agenda behind those that make us want to think that. I mean, these are very, very important times that until we really get right with ourselves as far as our truth, knowing who we are, we won't be able to really influence a change in the world. We have to know who we are, and we have to be willing to implement those truths for our fellow man, and to take care of each other, as opposed to take from each other and demean each other and see the other, as opposed to seeing, like you said, how can I have an enemy? Nobody's really my enemy. So it's really interesting. I think that's part of this whole thing coming so very full circle, but in such a very apparent, clear way to so many people now, much more, I think, than ever before. And so now the question is, what do we do with all this sort of newfound awakened knowledge, and how do we move forward in a healthful human way that's good for all of us, and that allows everybody to have a chance, a real chance,
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. I agree with a lot of that, hon. The only thing I would add to it is that you are the world, and the more we give ourselves to the creator, like you're saying, the more we become, and the more miracles we manifest, and the greater our freedom. So, if we wait for everyone to agree with us, we're going to be waiting for a long time. But if we have the sense of sovereignty, authenticity, integrity, sovereignty, those are the words that my guides, keep talking about, then, we recognize that all of our political structures and economic structures are agreements, and we can begin to negotiate a new agreement with the creator of all contracts, Almighty God, we might call him, and say, I'd like a new contract, please. I'd like a new agreement with you, and a new sense of what's possible in this world. And boom, the light is on your path now, and those that are of like mind, like the three of us here talking, and everyone who's listening on the call here now or in the future, we're magnetically being drawn into each other's presence, because this is for the greater good. Patricia and Addie Lamborn, two of my teachers, Patricia 𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧 and Addie Lamborn, talk about take a glass of water and put your hands around it and listen to some sacred music for 5 minutes and send it the codes of the new earth, you know, and then drink it down or put it on your house plants or put it out in the stream outside my house here, etc. And that goes into the collective. So, I mean, to me, the good news is we're actually much more powerful. This is the theme I hear from Spirit all the time. We're much more powerful than we've given ourselves credit or willingness to believe, you know, because we'd hate to be, you know, doing something that isn't in alignment with the greater good. But the more we give ourselves to the greater good and ask to get out of the way and be of good use, the more, you know, it finds a way to work through us and work with us to create, you know, true magic and miracles. I mean, to me, the thing that the world knows not of is that there are many enlightened spiritual beings, you know, who've been on the ride many lifetimes, who, you know, are this close to remembering who we really are. And this is that time when the energies are going to make it the easiest it's ever been for us in any lifetime to step into that truth and then, you know, fulfill our soul's desire in this reality. I truly believe that that's the next step on the journey for anyone who's interested.
Yeah, incredible.
Thank you.
Did we save the world or no?
Well, we are the world, I'm saying again. And so when we save ourselves and we free ourselves to love each other, like we're all doing and learning and reminding each other of, thank you, God, you know, then we're not a prisoner of the illusions any longer.
Right.
You know, that's the true joy. You know, I think of Abraham's quote, Esther Hicks, one person aligned to source is more powerful than a million people who aren't. You know, it's really like that. And, you know, big fan of Wayne Dyer. And he was studying at the end of his life, U.S. Anderson, who had this book called The Three Magic Words. And Wayne teaches when you get to the end of the book, the three magic words are, you are God, you know? And it's like, that just seems too good to be true. But what if it is true?
Well, it is true.
Then what do we do with that is the question, you know? We learn, we listen, we practice, we share.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying it's effortless, but
No.
I'm saying it's possible.
Well, it's definitely possible. It wouldn't, I always tell people when they talk about things that are going on, I always say, well, things come up for you because it's time for you to face them and heal them. And this is what's coming up for humanity now, the reality of who we really are.
Yes.
And why we're really here. And so if we're willing to know that,
yeah,
if we know nothing else, that we are just, I like how Bashar says it. He says that if God is all there is, then all there is God. And in the Hindus, we say there's nothing but God. That people always say, well, Hinduism is a polytheistic religion, but that's not true, actually. We believe that the divine pervades all of it, everything, that everything is that. I am that, which is biblical. I am that. So, you know, if we know that, all other actions naturally come from that. Choices are made then with that in mind. And you're not going to do those things that hurt yourself or your fellow man, because it is you. And it's just a very beautiful realization to have that's accessible literally to everyone.
Right.
You don't have to pay money for that. You only, you know, you just have to be willing to know who you are. Being willing to know who you are, right?
Right. Listen to, trust, and follow.
Right.
You trust, like you trust me to come on here and talk about these things once in a while. It's wonderful. You know, that trust that we have for each other, my dear friend, you know, that's based on all the experiences that we've allowed, you know, Spirit to guide us to co-create together. Yeah. And so as you and I are growing and evolving, Christy and everyone here, we're deepening our trust of the truth. And the gift of that is we are less dependent on the illusions of the lies of the ego mind, illusions of separation, etc. The heart is the master, the mind is the servant. The mind is a terrible master, but a wonderful servant. When we deny the heart and we make the mind the master, then we're lost in the illusion of the world. And there's pain, fear, and struggle, and lack, and sickness and death. When we've had enough of that, then we surrender into the heart and we say, I don't know what my life is for. Use me, teach me, lead me, show me. Thank you, Almighty God.
There you
And
go.
you change. Well, that's practice, 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 you know?
Of course. You know, I know that you like to go like an hour and a half, and I think we're at an hour and a
I'm
half.
okay. I'm fresh as a daisy over here. We're having a really deep dive today, but thank you for that.
Good. I didn't want to like push you past your.
Oh, you're very kind. No, it's those patches, you know?
Oh, that's right. Why don't you tell everyone what you're doing with your patches?
Here's my commercial break. So this is a company called LifeWave. And I had a cancer surgery 2.5 years ago where the skin cancer that I got from the sun cream, I'm convinced of that, put a hole in my chest that I'd lived with. It was just a condition, wasn't a hole, but a certain vaccine came out and my cancer went crazy along with many other people's. So it ate a hole in my chest. They had to take a bit of my back and stick it onto my front and do 7 hours of surgery to take it all out. I'm strong and clean and healthy, but I definitely needed help with my health. So my friend Tim, who's in Australia, he gave me, he told me about the LifeWave stem cell patches. So I've been using those for 14 months and 12 months and a little change here. And they've definitely helped my recovery. And so it's a very simple thing. It's got crystals in it. It's a little patch like a bandage. You wear it. It's a little circle. I don't have one on at the moment. You wear it on your body. It takes the infrared light that the body emits, and with the crystals, it bounces it back into the body, and it turns on the copper peptides that turn on the stem cell production. And so everyone who's been on them for any length of time sees an improvement in health and a reverse of your aging process. So that's the short version of that. And I'll give you the link if people want to check it out. It's been, this was invented 4 years ago, and they went from $20 million in sales to $1 billion this year of this one product called the X39 stem cell patch.
I remember when you first started, you had just started like a month before when we first did it. And you were saying your hair was growing back very strongly at the time. And so, but since the hair situation from a year ago, what do you see as being like the benefits you had for it?
Well, like I had, my thing was really getting in the weeds here, but my thing was in the hospital, I was on IV antibiotics 4 times a day for 5 weeks, which is a whole lot of antibiotics, and especially in your 60s. But so my digestion elimination and my head and my sinuses, my ears, all that was completely blocked up and moving kind of slow. All of that is completely cleared in the last 12 months. It cleared mostly in the first 3 to 4 months. I saw things clear up, and it's just gotten better. The collagen in my skin is lit up. I look better than I've looked in a long time, which is very flattering to my vanity, and that's nice. But the hair is darker, and just in general, my energy is good, my sleep is good, my nerves are good, all of those things. The stem cells are like the superpower of the body. And so at the age of 30, it goes to 50%. At 60, it goes to 10%. So this guy has 200 patents to his name, the inventor and the CEO of LifeWave. His name is David Schmidt. Very humble, very devoted, sincere, honest, amazing human being who's created this great company and a great group of people that I'm blessed to be amongst that really just want to help people to heal their lives. And then it's a network marketing thing, and you can make an incredible income sharing this information with people. So that's my That's my life wave. And I do a live every Wednesday night at 8:30 Ireland time, do a live Zoom about all of that if you follow me on my Facebook page.
Great. So if you're looking for healing and innovative technology and also maybe a second income,
Come on
then-
down. Yes,
and
thank you.
yeah, and you're on Facebook under 𝗪𝗡𝗓𝗏, right? You're
Yes,
there.
yes.
They
And I
can
have,
find. Go ahead.
yeah, well, I have a LifeWave, I have a Facebook group called LifeWave Team Ireland, and then I'm at lifewave.com/𝗪𝗡𝗓.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right. So back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Yes, thank you very much for that commercial break.
Are you doing sessions with people now, or what is your?
I'm always open to that. I haven't done a lot of sessions for whatever reason, but I'm always happy to do it.
Okay, and how do people get in touch with you? Again, through Facebook?
Yeah, go to 𝗪𝗡𝗓 or Awakened Spirits Network. And that's where my interviews are. I just did an interview yesterday with one of my LifeWave people, a young lady who's like 26, and her mom is the top of my structure there, my top of my upline, I guess they call it. And this is Emma Tremaine. She's a bright light, talking about all the great healing that's happened for her with the patches. So that's on my page as well.
Oh, very good. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
All right, so I think that we are going to kind of come to a natural pause in what we're doing, but I would like you to just let me be quiet, and I mean, I will be quiet, and I would like you to maybe just say this.
I will let you be quiet.
We don't get to talk that much except when we're on the webinar, so I like to have discussions with you, but
Thank you.
I would just like to for you to talk about what is the most alive thing for you now? What do you're very in touch with predictions of things coming through the different people you follow. What is it you see for the next, say, several months being relevant? What should we be paying attention to? I know maybe externally more than internally, but what do you see being sort of the trajectory of the world?
Yes, yes. Well, I'll give you mine, and then I'll let my guides channel for you. How do we like that?
I think that would be fantastic.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to say have fun. I'm going to say that the most important thing in a world falling apart is a nice cup of coffee on your front porch and loving every minute of your peace and quiet, or picking up your guitar and singing a song or learning a new song, and just really appreciating the magical moments in life. We've talked about a lot of really beautiful, important, deep subjects, but I really feel, as they say here in Ireland, at the end of the day, it is about the love we have in our hearts for just the experience of life itself. And I think I've learned a lot about that, Christy, here from my Irish friends, I have to tell you. And that's, I think, why I came here. And my cup overflows between learning Irish the last few months and beginning to study the language with all its wealth of poetry and magic and the mystical that's in there. And, the depth of the philosophy of the whole culture and the history of the people here in the land, and the love that the people have for the land and for each other. It's just been a feast. So, there's a lot to love in life, and all of us need to find those things that really inspire us and lift us up. And my joke is the choices are simple. It's humility versus humiliation, and inspiration versus desperation. So the more we can choose consciously what we want our lives to be about and how we want to show up in the world, the easier this journey is going to become for all of us. And the other thing is, I truly believe that the greatest way we can protect ourselves in the world in this time of such dramatic change is actually by coming back to our innocence. And you'll return to where you began, but this time you'll understand why you're there. And Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you, and to enter the kingdom, you must be as innocent as a child." And we look at all the power struggles in the world. There's very little innocence out there. there's a lot of manipulation and seduction and pressure and control in people's lives. And that's very understandable, but it really is never the answer. And that's a big one to begin to wrap your head around for all of us, myself included. But let me give you my my guides here to close out this wonderful session here with all of you. It's a great space, and Krishna Priya, you do an amazing job bringing us all into such an important discussion together. So thank you. So go ahead and close your eyes, turn within, take a deep breath. All right, God bless you, dear friends. Here we come. Imagine 7 stars spiral down through time and space. Touch the crown of your head. Take a lovely deep breath. Relax and release. Relax and release. Relax and release. Let the energy flow down. The crown, third eye, throat, heart center. Another good breath. Relax and release. Down we go. Relax and release. Relax and release. The will center, the navel, the sacral, the root. Deep, deep breath. Relax and release. Relax and release. Relax and release. Down the hips, legs, feet, like a waterfall of light flowing down, down, down into Mother Earth. Your home, your roots, your groundedness, the ground you stand upon, your support system, your sense of belonging, your sense of accepting that which you truly desire yourself to know yourself as. To be yourself is to free yourself, dear friends. And coming back into the heart, perhaps placing a hand or two, and just giving yourself that gift of love and acceptance and understanding. I love myself. I accept myself. I set myself free. Deep breath. I love myself. I accept myself. I set myself free. Deep, deep breath. Last time, I love myself. I accept myself. I set myself free, dear friends. The world is turning at a furious pace these days, dear friends. We know you know, and you're sensing that and feeling that. So the suggestion here has been said is to go into peace as often and as deeply as possible, to appreciate that cup of coffee on the front porch, or that new song, or that time with your beloved, or that time in nature, is to appreciate that life is a gift, dear friends. And most are too distracted to understand that, and thus cannot appreciate the gift that they've earned by drawing a breath in this world at this powerful time. So as you receive that gift of your life and of life itself, Mother Earth and Father Sky and all of creation can and does focus upon you and bring you those reminders and those moments of activation and intention and conscious creation and co-creation, dear friends, that then waft out upon the land and hold that vibration of heaven on earth, of peace among all, of living in harmony and balance with all the elementals and with all the creatures and creations of this world and of the next. Dear friends, you've come at the perfect moment to remember how to consciously co-create a joyous and meaningful reality for yourself, for your loved ones, for Mother Earth, and for all that is. Take a deep breath. You've touched on a lot of important topics here tonight. Let those that have stirred you inspire you and lift you up. Let those that have confused you or troubled you, set them aside for the moment. And continue to ask for, invite, and give thanks for that which your heart desires. Love and light is the true vibration of conscious creation. And you are the awakeners, dear friends. You are the dream weavers and the bringers of the dawn. You are the light of this world. Never doubt it for a moment, dear friends. Take us with you in your heart on this journey home, and know that we are there with you in each and every moment. Ask for what you want. Give thanks, we say again, and let it be. Dear friends, the best is yet to come, and you deserve what you desire in truth. Peace and blessings. All our love. Shine your light, share your love, and show humanity there is a new time, and there is a new earth, and it is here. Peace and blessings. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you. Lou.
Like my background?
Oh, we do, yeah.
Just dropped my water bottle.
You're
Yeah,
sitting on the top of the world.
absolutely. And just thrilled to share all that with you, Krishna Priya. Thank you so much, sweetheart. What a dear friend.
Absolutely. It was lovely. Yes.
Christy, nice to come together. Let's chat soon, I hope.
Definitely, Lou. Yeah, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
We'll tune in 2 weeks because Christy will be here sharing. I've been so excited about this. He's going to be sharing some of his photographs of the beings that visit him and hang out in his backyard and different places in his life.
Oh, wonderful. I
I'm
wouldn't miss
really
that.
excited to see that, and I hope everyone will. It's just, I'm very fascinated by any kind of manifestations. I think it's very exciting.
Well, it's quite interesting that Yeshua was mentioned here today, because you will be seeing one of the images or two of the images of Yeshua. Yeshua is popping in as well.
Great.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's
Mhm.
amazing. So before we go, just again, Lou, thank you. It's always so lovely to talk with you, catch up with you, find out what you're doing. I'm glad you're thriving, which is fantastic.
Thank
And
you.
Chris, lovely to see you, everyone in the room who was amazingly quiet.
Hanging on every.
Mesmerized by the conversation at hand. But anyway, Lou, you're always welcome anytime.
Thank you.
You're a dear family member of Human Colony and me.
Yay.
So
Thank you, sweetheart. Love you madly. Great to be here.
So
love you.
everyone in the YouTube, thank you, who they were also amazingly quiet, but I'm mesmerized. I just have to say mesmerized by all the conversation. And so next week we'll have Jim, and then in another week after that we'll have Christy. So looking forward for that.
Beautiful.
All right,
Peace and
thank
blessings.
you. Peace
I
and
love
blessings,
you all.
everyone. Much love to you. Stay safe, stay happy, be in the now.
Keep on
That's all.
rocking the free world.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, exactly. Keep on